All right, let's talk about something real, how your brain and body actually get through a school day. We're going to use a tool called the Systems Model to map out the natural ups and downs in your energy and focus. Seriously, understanding this can be a total game changer for cutting down on stress and actually doing better work. Okay, let's get into it. I mean, have you ever wondered about that? Some days you can just sit down and focus, no problem. And then other days, it feels like an uphill battle just to start. It's not random, I promise. There's a pattern to it. And figuring out that pattern is the first step to working with your brain, not fighting against it. So that's where the systems model comes in. The best way to think about it is like a map. It's not a personality test, it's not a label. It just shows you how your system, that's your brain and your body working together, moves through different states. Sometimes you're focused, sometimes you're totally drained. This map just gives us some names for those places. Okay, now this is probably the most important idea of all. This model is a map, not a label. On one side, you see what it describes, things like your energy levels, your focus, how you're behaving on a task. But on the other side, you see what it does not describe, your character or your value as a person. Feeling overwhelmed or tired doesn't mean you're lazy or broken. It just means your system is telling you it needs something different. That's it. So with that in mind, let's walk through the 5 energy states. As I'm going through them, just kind of think in the back of your mind, when have I felt this way during a typical school week? First up, we have stall. Just think of it like your car running out of gas. Your system is totally out of fuel, you feel heavy, you feel done, and even the smallest, simplest things feel like way too much effort. And this is what stall can look like. Maybe you're just sitting there, staring at your work, not even blinking. Or you keep clicking between tabs on your computer, but you're not actually doing anything. You might feel like you could cry, or snap at someone, or just fall asleep right there. Stall is your system's way of putting up a giant stop sign. Okay, next up is drift. This is when you're physically there, you're at your desk, you're in the classroom, but you haven't really started yet. Your mind just keeps drifting away. Oh man, this one is so common, right? You reread the same sentence over and over and it just doesn't sink in. Or you decide to check your phone just for a second and suddenly 15 minutes are gone. Drift isn't you being lazy. It's usually a sign that the first step isn't super clear or your energy is just too low to get the engine started. All right, state number 3 is the one we all hear about, the focused zone. This is when you're engaged in your work and the task in front of you feels doable. It might still be hard, but you feel like you can handle it. When you're in the focus zone, ideas are coming pretty steadily. You're solving problems, and when you read a page, you actually remember what you just read. Now, nobody lives here 24/7. That's just not how humans work. But this is the state where that deep learning really happens. Next, let's talk about overdrive. Now, this one's tricky because from the outside, it can look super productive. You're rushing, you're working fast, you're running on adrenaline, but underneath it all, your form is starting to fall apart. This is that classic cramming for a test or finishing a project the night before it's due energy. It's fueled by stress. You start skipping important steps just to save time, and you stay up way too late trying to get it all done. It might work in an emergency, but you can't live like this. And what often happens after too much time in overdrive? You hit breakdown. If stall is an empty gas tank, breakdown is like blowing a fuse in the whole system. It's what happens when your brain and body have been under too much pressure for way too long. It's basically an emergency brake. And breakdown can look really different for different people. For some, it's tears or a panic attack. For others, it's snapping at people you care about. And sometimes it's just going completely numb and not caring about anything at all. The key thing to remember is this. This is a physical response from your body. It is not a character flaw. And this brings us to the single most important takeaway from all of this. Ready? Every single human being moves through all 5 of these states. No one, and I mean no one, stays in the focus zone all the time. It's just part of being human. So let's put this all together. The big idea here is to reframe how you see these states. Drift and overdrive, they're not failures, they're just in-between states. And stall and breakdown, they're just really important signals that your system needs to recover. They are not proof that you're lazy or that something's wrong with you. Okay, so now that we have this map of the 5 states, let's connect it to your actual life. So I want you to just think for a second about a normal week for you. When do you feel stalled? Is it maybe late at night after homework and sports? When do you notice yourself in drift? Maybe that moment you first open a big assignment. And when do you find that focus zone? Just be honest with yourself. On your workbook page for lesson 0.3, you're going to see a space to describe each of these states and match them to different parts of your week. Just use what we talked about to help you fill that in. So let's wrap with the key takeaways. First, the systems model gives us a map of 5 states: stall, drift, focus zone, overdrive, and breakdown. And second, and most importantly, these states describe your energy and your form, not your character or your worth. Okay, now it's your turn. Go ahead and open your workbook to lesson 0.3 and complete the questions about the 5 states. The more you just observe and notice where they show up in your week, the more useful this whole map is going to be.